So you plunk down a base in the Outlands. Your crew is already pretty tough and well equipped. You're mostly using it to produce food for your upcoming expedition into the Ashlands. But you start to notice that the factions here are a bit different than when you were farming cactuses in Skinner's Rome. The Holy Nation isn't sending prayer days to waste your time, and the Black Dragon ninjas aren't dabbing away with your bread baskets. No, the bandits here are in some ways both more thought out and yet more absurd. It's easy to wrap your head around the Dust Bandits. They are just a bunch of ruffians raiding your base for food. They are tougher than your average starving vagrant, but they are just people trying to survive in a dying world. Now, out here in the Outlands, we have crab raiders, and they aren't your average bandits. For one, they're a lot tougher, but they're also totally obsessed with crabs. At first, I found this to be a tad immersion breaking. After all, dust bandits are barely scraping by, but out here on the edge of the world, you have these skilled warriors dressed in heavy-grade armor, and you ask, well, why haven't they just taken over the whole world by now, if they are clearly more solid fighters than anything the United Cities has to throw at you? But the more time I spent out here in the Outlands, the more I came to understand the crab raiders. They aren't just delusional crab enthusiasts, they have a culture that comes from the Green Coast region they reside in. A culture of fishing and proper crab care. And these animals are more than just pets to the crabbers. They are how they defend themselves and how they test their mettle. Have you ever participated in a crab tournament? I have. At first I defeated the crab Titus and cut out his crab meat to keep my people fed. A note here, Titus does not die when you loot him. The wiki claims this is because he hates you and wants your blood. Then the crab raiders came back with Barnabas. By now they were calling me Mystery Crab, as I had advanced in the tournament and yet no one had seen my crab. I didn't have the heart to tell them I didn't have one. The subsequent rounds went the same way the first one did, with me leaving a pile of dismembered crabs in the gateway. Then they brought the undefeated Crabinator, and I'm going to tell you the trick to beating him. Just man your turrets. He can't fit through the gate. It's really pretty easy. So once I had proven that I was the toughest crab in town, I spent a little time to reevaluate my view of the crab raiders. There was a lot more to them than I originally thought. They weren't a bunch of delusional crab-obsessed freaks, living on the edge of the world with no applicable reason as to why they should be as strong as they were. They were a rich fishing culture, living in symbiosis with nature, and that perhaps explains why they hadn't sought power outside of the Green Coast. To them, there was no need for empire, for technology, for riches. The only ambition a crabber has is to raise the best crab so that they might be the next champion of the crab tournament. Some might see this as infighting, as a distraction, but these are probably the words of a sore loser who knows they will never be able to compete with the mystery crab. Now, out here in the Outlands, there is another faction. I initially wrote them off as a sloppy, unthought-out excuse to have high-level enemies to fight in the endgame, and that's the Skeleton Bandits. I was dubious that there was a group of bandits seemingly thriving despite the fact that they are a group of humans suffering from the mass delusion that they all believe that they are skeletons and don't need food or bandages, which seems like it would be a pretty big handicap. It should have led them to dying out as soon as they arose, but then they butchered my Garu, and their utter annihilation suddenly became personal to me. So I sent Sad Neil down to Iron HQ, and he had a little chat with Elder, the skeleton leader of the Skeleton Bandits. Now this guy has a real pessimistic view of humanity. In his mind, warfare is not a bug of human nature, but it is in fact its defining feature. He argues that the humans will wage war on one another no matter what, and so he sees no moral qualm in manipulating these humans to doing his bidding by telling them that once skeletons ruled the Second Empire and will rule again. The Skeleton Bandits are not suffering from a mass delusion. They do not actually believe they are skeletons. They are simply power-hungry individuals who eat surreptitiously to maintain an illusion that they are skeletons. They believe that when robots are in power once again, they will be among the ruling class. It's not stated by Elder, but I believe there is another useful outcome of the Skeleton Bandits' deception. This faction exists very close to the Skin Bandits. Now, as a human, the Skin Bandits kind of freak me out, and I imagine they have a similar effect on other humans. So it isn't hard to put myself in the mindset that if they ever had a run-in with Skin Bandits, it might be a viable tactic to put on a metal mask and go beep boop, no skin brother here, just us robots. Anyway, I digress. My interaction with Elder ended, and I knocked him out cold and ripped out his AI core. I don't really care that he was a liar without empathy for sentient life. It's just, you don't murder my pack beast and get away with it.